Have you ever tried out a paint color and saw this weird texture show up on your paper and you thought, oh no, did I get a bad tube? Is something wrong with my paint? You might be running into something called granulation. And spoiler alert, there's nothing wrong with your paint. Granulation is actually a really cool paint characteristic that shows up in certain pigments. It causes a pebbled or grainy look on the paper. I think it's the coolest texture. Some pigments just do this. By the way, my name is Emily, and here on my channel we do art tutorials, product reviews, and we discuss all things watercolor. So if that sounds good to you, hit that subscribe button right now. So the set I'm testing out today is called the Qor Mini Granulators set of 6 colors. I was looking up reviews for these, and there's only one review currently on Amazon, and it's at 3 stars, which was really surprising to me because most people rave about Qor watercolor paints. The reviewer just said, unique palette but some weak color choices, and the pans are heaped so the colors get contaminated really easily. 3 stars. Okay, so yes, the pans are really close together, and when we open it up we'll see that, but I'm pretty sure you can move those around if you want to, so there is that. And overall, Qor watercolor paints do get phenomenal reviews. What makes them unique is the binder. Most watercolor paints use gum arabic or honey for their binder. Golden Paints has developed their own patented binder called Aquazol that they use for these watercolors. Now this brand has only been around for about 10 years, so it remains to be seen just how this binder holds up over the years. We'll have to see, but this particular binder is actually able to hold a greater pigment load than most binders, so that means that these colors have the potential to be very pigmented and very strong. Let's try them out today. Now I'm going to be doing something a little crazy. Normally when you're testing out a new set of paints you do some swatches, right? And most of the time this just looks like boring little squares. I said it, it's boring. I'm not super excited by the concept of swatching, I'll be honest. I like to jump right in and make a painting, but that might not be the best idea when you're trying out brand new paints. So to take swatching to the next level today, I'm going to try a color wheel with a painting inside of it. This is next level swatching. We're going to see how this goes. I'm going to be painting a tiger with all of the different colors in the set. Now you might be thinking, Emily, this has 8 segments on it and there are only 6 colors in the set. And you're absolutely right, that would be a problem. So I also happen to have this little test dot set of 6 colors, and 2 of these happen to be granulating, the transparent red oxide and the chromium oxide green. So we're going to try those. Hopefully I have enough paint to actually cover my whole tiger. We'll have to see. But either way, this is going to be a really fun experiment. I've already drawn on a circle with 8 segments to it, just like my reference image. And the nice thing about this is it's like having a grid already done for you. So when you do the sketch, you can use these to basically grid your drawing on. So that makes it a little easier. Okay, now that I've got my sketch on, it's time to open up this adorable little set. I love their packaging. I think they do such a good job with it. It's so easy to see what's going to be inside. We'll just open up the top. Perfect. And this looks just like the set of 12 that I reviewed a couple of weeks ago. Here's my set of 12. You can see the boxes are identical. The only difference is that this set just comes with 6 colors, all granulating. But you can see it's the exact same palette as the set of 12. This is their own custom design. I've never seen any other paint makers use a palette with silicone like this and with these little circular metal shapes for mixing your paints. I really like this mixing space, that there are some little dips in it for keeping your colors separate, and you can see where there are some empty pans here which are really easy to just pop right out, and we could put any colors we want in there, so that's exciting. The one reviewer said they were really close together and it made it hard because the colors kind of contaminate each other, so we could prevent that by just spreading out the colors throughout the pan set. I'm just gonna leave them how they are because they look really pretty, but like I said, I need 2 more colors to complete my 8 segments on the pie of my tiger face. So I'm going to be using this transparent red oxide and chromium oxide green. Alright, so I'm going to keep my reference photo close so I can see my values. We're going to be doing values with this painting while also testing out this new set of paint, so that's exciting. Now I need to be strategic about where I put my colors. I want them to be in color order. I'm going to have to think about this for a second. Alright, so I think I want my red and pink to be next to each other, the transparent red oxide and the pink. And these all pretty much go in color order. The chromium oxide green will have to be next to the transparent red oxide, which isn't ideal, but I don't have anything in the middle, so that's how it's gonna have to be. All right, so I'm actually gonna start with my little dot card here with the transparent red oxide, and I'm just gonna work my way around. The first color I swatched was Transparent Red Oxide. This is from Pigment Red 101, which is actually known by a bunch of different names like Mars Red, Venetian Red, Red Earth, Indian Red, English Red, and sometimes it's even called Burnt Sienna. This pigment is absolutely beautiful. I noticed that with the wet and wet technique it spreads so well, and I was able to layer it really easily, achieving some really nice darks with it. This swatch that you see here is directly from the Qor website. I'm going to show these next to each of the colors as I paint them so you can see just how accurate the Qor website swatches really are. The next color is Chromium Oxide Green. This is PG17. I do think that the swatch on the website is perhaps a little bit brighter than what I was seeing on my actual painting here, but it's still absolutely beautiful color. Once again, you can see that granulation when we zoom in up close, especially when I use lots of water. This color was a little harder to layer dark. Now the next 6 colors are all directly from this granulator set. This is Ultramarine Pink, PV15. I've never used this color before and it was delightful. Pink is one of my favorite colors and I had so much fun using it for the wet and wet technique and for the dark stripes on the top portion of this painting. Up next is Ultramarine Violet. Once again, I felt like this color swatch was a little less bright than the one they showed on the website, but still just so beautiful. If you really like pinks and purples, I think this set is so much fun. And all of these paints performed exactly as I would expect a professional quality paint to perform. And you can see a lot of that granulation, especially in the areas where I used a lot of water. Now, Ultramarine Blue PB29 is a color I need in just about every brand. Whenever I buy a selection of colors, Ultramarine is always one of them because it's just a staple on my palette. I use this color all the time. Because it's such a strong color and mixes really well with others, I find it so useful, not only on its own, but as a mixer, especially with Burnt Sienna. That's probably one of my favorite color combinations in watercolor, and look at how beautiful that is. This next one is another new color for me. This is Cerulean Blue Chromium, and you can see the color difference between this and Ultramarine, definitely a little less tinting strength, but it seems to be even more granulating. This color comes from PB36-1, and it has an excellent light fast rating. I should mention that all of these have excellent light fast ratings. The next color here is Cobalt Teal. This one was a little bit hard to get really dark. I think it's just because it's so vibrant. This is from PG50. I could definitely see myself using this as a cool blue and highlights on a white animal or something like that, kind of as a good substitute for my turquoise blue, but it was a little bit tricky to get really dark with that one. And then my last color that I checked out here on my tiger painting was Cobalt Green PG26. On the swatch there you can see just how granulating this one is. It's extremely granulating, and this one was probably one of my favorite paints to work with on this swatch chart. It just flowed so easily and I could get such a broad range of lights and darks. Now, no tiger would be complete without those whiskers, so just for fun I used my Dr. P.H. Martin's Bleed Proof White to paint on a few whiskers. And because I wanted to experiment even more with the granulation in each of these paints, I sprayed my surface with water and then just threw on those colors around the outer edges of my composition here, using tons of water, trying to encourage a soft blend between them, just so that I could exaggerate the look of that granulation on the cold pressed surface of my Saunders paper. And you can see it's just spreading so pretty. I love these paints. Honestly, they're so much fun to play with. Granulating colors can be a little tricky to work with if you don't understand how they work, but once you understand and can embrace their unique qualities, I think they're an absolute blast to paint with. Okay, that turned out even better than I expected. How fun is that? If you want to try this tiger for yourself, I'm including a free traceable line drawing of this tiger color wheel so you can print that off and try it with any color combinations you want. So the only disadvantage I saw with actually swatching my paints in this very unique way was that I couldn't fully take advantage of the granulating quality of these paints because I was working in small sections and working very detailed, and the granulation just doesn't show up as much when you're not using a ton of water. So that's why I decided to do all those splashes, and boy did the granulation come out beautifully with those. And I think it also adds a fun element to this painting. So what do you think? Will this be the new trend in swatching? If you decide to try this, go ahead and download that traceable and tag me on Instagram at eOlsonArt. I'd love to see your version of this tiger color wheel. And some final thoughts on the Qor mini granulators. I loved painting with these. I can kind of see what that one reviewer was saying with some of the pigments not being super powerful, like the ultramarine pink, for example, and the cobalt teal. These were really hard to get really dark values with them, but I think if you understand that that's just part of the paint quality, You'll come to expect it, and you'll reach for those colors when you don't necessarily need something that's super dark. The ultramarine blue was amazing. I love this transparent red oxide, which didn't come in the set. That one you'll have to buy separately. And the chromium oxide green is beautiful as well. And this cobalt green, oh my goodness, just gorgeous. So if you love pinks, purples, and blues, this set is just so much fun, and I highly recommend. Let me know in the comments if you'd like me to do another crazy color wheel with a different set of paints. I'd love to do it. What animal should I do for my next color wheel? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching today. If you haven't already seen my other video about the Qor set of 12 colors, check that one out next, and I'll see you right over there.